right, today we're going to be going over grade 5, unit 5 pre-assessment. So make sure you have your study packet in front of you. So on A, fill in the blanks, use numbers or labeled sketches to show how you got your answer. So I'm going to use numbers on this one. 6 times 1/5 is the same thing as 6 over 1 times 1/5. 6 times 1 is 6, and 5 times 1 is 5, so I have 6/5. But I can simplify that because 5 goes into 6 one time. So my simplified answer would be 1 1/5. Okay, next one, 8 times 2/3. I can do it the same way. If I just make that a 1, I have 8 times 2 is 16, and 1 times 3 is 3. Well, 16 divided by 3 is what? It is 5 with how many left over? 1/3. So my simplified answer is 5 1/3. Okay, next one, excuse me, I have is 40 times 5/8. Okay, again, if I put 40 over 1, 40 times 5, or 4 times 5 is 20, plus one more place value makes 200. And then 1 times 8 is 8. Now how many times does 8 go into 200? To simplify this fraction, well, we can do this, a little ratio table. We know that 1 is 8, 10 is 80, so it's got to be more than 10. 11 would be 88. If I add another one, 8 plus 88, I now have 96, so that's going to be as close as I get. Whoops, not as close as I get because I'm not doing 100, I'm doing 200. So if I double that, 96 and 96 is 180 plus 12, so I have 192 would be 24. Ooh, and I'm pretty close. I think I could add 8 more to make 25 plus 8. I would then have 200. So 200 divided by 8 is 25. Okay. All right. In my next one, number 2 here, in Zach's class, 3/5 of the students are boys. Or sorry, 3/5 of the 25 students are boys. How many boys are in Zach's class? Well, I know that of means multiply. So I have 3/5 times 25. Okay, so 3 times 25 is 75, and 5 times 1 is 5. Now I just have to simplify my answer. 5 goes into 70. How many? 5 goes into 7 one time. And then 5, there would be 15, so that would be 3. Mrs. Hanley's kind of doing it in her head here. So best way to do this so we don't make any mistakes is to use a ratio table. 1 is 5, 10 is 50, 11 is 55, 12 would be 60, and then I know that 60 plus 15 gives me 75, so if I add 3 more, because 3 times 5, so if I add 3 to here, then I'm going to add down here, which would give me 75 if I add 3 5s, so times 3 more 5s. Okay? All right, so 15 is 75, so my answer is 15. How many boys are in Zach's class? Am I done? I showed my work. Oh, I have to label. 15 boys for my final answer. Okay, number 3, Maddie's little brother spilled ketchup on one of her homework problems. 1/3 times something equals something. Fill in the bubble to show that Maddie should be able to tell for sure about the answer even though she can't see the other number. Okay, we did go over this one a ton in class, but basically you need to try each one of them out. The answer will be less than 1/3. Is that true? If I have 1/3 times 15, will it be less than 1/3? It'd be 15 over 3, and my answer would be 5. So would it be less than 1/3 guaranteed? Nope, so it can't be this one. So what you need to do in this problem is just process of elimination, see which ones it could be, try different numbers in the blank until you get your final answer. Okay, next one. Explain your answer. How do you know the statement you chose is true? Well, if you have examples, you can use this as evidence and state in your answer based on my evidence when I multiplied whatever times 1/3, I got blah, blah, blah. So that's how you would answer question 3B. Okay, moving on. The next problem here, it says, fill in the blanks. Use numbers or labeled sketches to show how you got your answer. So this time I'm going to use sketches since here I have this fun stuff here. And it says 1/4 times 1/2. So I'm going to do 1/4 of this colored in. And then now I need to color in 1/2. So I'm going to mark this as 1/4 because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And half of this I would then go this way. Right? So I can see that the only square that's overlapping 1/4 times 1/2 is one of the squares. And it's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my answer is 1/8. And I can check that because 1 times 1 is 1 and 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one, 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. And I can also do this. I can do 1/3 across. Make sure I label, gotta label. And then times 1/4. So 1/4 would be right here. So I'm going to cross the other way just so I can show. And it shows that only here is where the two connect, which is 1 out of 12 squares. So my answer is 1/12. Okay, on the next one, I have 3/4 times 4/5. So 3/4 is all the way down here. So I'm going to shade everything above. But then I have 4/5, so I have to label this one 4/5, which is everything to this side. Okay, so now how many have the double shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 of them are shaded out of how many? Well, there was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 12 out of 20. Okay, let me check. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20. I do have 12 20ths, but my answer can get smaller. I can simplify that answer. I know that 2 goes into 12 6 times, and 2 goes into 20 10 times. Ooh, I still have 2 even numbers. I think I can simplify again. If I divide it by 2 again, I get 3/5 as my final simplified answer. Okay? All right, and moving on to question number 5. Number 5 says, at Kelly's school, 2/3 of the playground is covered with grass, and 3/5 of the grassy area is a baseball field. How much of the school playground is taken up by the baseball field? Well, if I have 2/3 of playground covered with grass times 3/5 of it is baseball field, how much of the school playground is taken up? Well, here's my equation, 2/3 times 3/5. Make a labeled sketch to model this problem. Use your sketch to solve and write an equation. Well, I have my equation. So now if I make a labeled sketch here, I need 2/3, so I'm going to cut this up into thirds. And here's 2/3. Okay, and then I need 3/5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3/5 would be here, right? So if I color in 3/5 and I block off 2/3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. out of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 6/15 is what I got. Let's see. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. Yep, same answer. Okay, then all I need to do is simplify my answer. 15 isn't even, but it can be divided by 5. But 6 can't be divided by 5, so how do I make it smaller? What if I try 3? If I simplify it by dividing 6 by 3, I get 2, and 3 goes into 15 5 times, so my answer is 2/5. Just so you can see what I did, I had 6/15, and then I divided by 3, so I got 2, and I divided by 3, and I got 5, so my final answer was 2/5 to simplify my fraction. Okay? Ooh, but am I done? Because it's a story problem, so I need to label my answer. So I can put 2/5 here, but it says, again, what was my question? How much of the school playground is taken by the baseball field? So 2/5 is taken up by baseball field. There. Now my answer is complete. Okay, number 6. Corey says that 6 divided by half means the same thing as 1 of 6. Well, 6 divided by 1/2, does this mean the same as 1/2 of 6? 1/2 of 6 is the same thing as 1/2 times 6. Remember, the of means times. So let's see. 1/2 times 6 equals 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 6 2s, I can divide that to get my answer of 3. Okay, over here I have 6 divided by half. Well, 6 divided by half, if I do it the keep, change, flip way, the KCF, I can do 6 times 2 over 1, which is 12 over 1, right? Which is the same thing as 12. Oh my goodness, are those the same? No, not even close. Okay. Or if I have 6 of something, I don't know if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I have 6 of something and I divide it by half, well, here I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I divide it by half. Well, now I have a half and 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 a half. So, that is another way to show a visual. So if I have 6 and I divide it into halves, I now have another half, 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 half. So how many halves do I have? I have 12 halves. So now I have a visual, and I did it in the number way. So both of these, does 12 equal 3? No. So my answer is no. Corey says that so the answer is 3. Do you agree with him? No, I do not agree, because 1/2 of 6 is 3, but 6 divided by a half is actually 12. And I can prove that by the KCF way or using a model. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. There's still one more page left, but I'm going to upload this part, and then there will be a part 2.